decent length video about transits, right? Just to give you like an introductory to what transits actually mean and what they represent, right? So check this out. So now, as you all can see, I'm on my one of my favorite sites, AstroSeek. I'm always on AstroSeek, right? And this is under the transit chart section. For those who don't know how to get to the transit chart section, let me show you. You click right here on AstroSeek. I'm still kind of going to okay. Right here where it says transit chart, right? Oh look, man, what the, I finna say? Okay, now let's go back. Now y'all see where to go to, and let's go back to the regular one, right? So now I'm gonna teach y'all a good deal about this, just like a basic understanding of it. So now, but before we get into all that, listen, I want y'all to come follow my Facebook page. You see my Facebook page right here? This is my Facebook page right here. And check this out. I want you all to understand, listen, my price list right here is right here as well, right? But it is under my other page, which is KAIN Ultima. So KAIN Ultima is my page, but my primary page I use is Inferno Rex. If you want birth chart readings, come DM me. Let me show you my prices real quick. Listen, these are my current prices, right? Pause video if you need to look. These ones too. Look, these listen, I got like almost like 80 reviews on here. Look at this. Different people saying different stuff. Come on now. Come on now. Listen, come on now. So the thing about it is, y'all listen. When I say I'm a credible astrologer, I'm not just talking. I'm really a credible astrologer. I want everybody to understand that. Like I'm literally professional with it. So yes, y'all listen. If you want to read and listen, I can keep going on and on. What you say? I was on probation for 2 years. Man, listen, I can keep going on and on, right? Different people, right? So now, but now, did you all understand that? So if you want to come, so now remember, it's gonna be on my KAIN Ultimate page, right? So now, just bring it up right back up there. So now, let's get exit off that. Let's go over the transit chart. So now I have another written essay, I guess you could say, of it. You know what I'm saying, for the transit, right? So now, what is a transit, right? So now, let's go to my actual typed up thing. So now, what are transits in astrology, right? So now, in astrology, transits are the current movements of the planets in the sky and how they interact with the planets and points in your natal chart, right? So, which is the exact snapshot at the actual sky the moment you were born, right? So you got to remember. So put it like this. You see this right here? Not this outer circle, not this outer circle, but this inner circle, right? This is when you were born, the snapshot of your planets, right? However, these planets that are inside of your birth chart move, right? They're never in the same. They're never in the same spot forever. They're just in the same spot for your permanent birth chart, preferably the D1 birth chart, right? And so, listen, the planets transit, you know what I'm saying, through different zodiac signs, through different houses, right? And when they transit, certain energies and certain events can happen. A lot of stuff can be open or closed. A lot of abundance, a lot of situations, a lot of mess, a lot of things that can really happen during certain trans, especially certain bad transits. So now scroll back down, right? Um, so now your natal chart says the same about your life. It's like your cosmic fingerprint, right? So now, but the planets never stop moving. So y'all, they keep spinning through the zodiac as they do. They form relationships called aspects, right? Guess what? For those y'all like, what is the aspect? You see how these little lines? It's kind of like sending energy to the other. Matter of fact, hold up, 'cause I use whole sign system. I don't use plastics, y'all. I use whole sign. But I want y'all to see this, right? You see these like little aspects. It's basically when other planets send other like signs or houses or other planets. You know what I'm saying? Like energy, right? For example, the sun. No, no. Let me see. So, for example, in this person's chart, excuse me, Jupiter is where? It's inside Scorpio. But this same Jupiter is aspecting Taurus, right directly across from it, right? That's his primary aspect. And I ain't gonna tell you about the secret aspects yet. But yes, that's what the aspect is when a planet is sending another planet a certain influence, right? So Jupiter is sending its energy to this actual eighth house Taurus, where Saturn is at, right? So Jupiter energy is merging. Jupiter energy is already being empowered by Scorpio, and so this is a Scorpionic Jupiter, right? So this wisdom coming from the occultic, deep, or even financial aspects of life, right? Then check this out. This Jupiter right here is aspecting this actual this whole house, right? And what's in this house? Saturn. So Jupiter is influencing that Saturn, and that Saturn is a Taurus kind of like Saturn, right? Because that's a sign of sin. Remember, the planets take on whatever energy of the zodiac sign they're in, right? I just want y'all to understand that. Now, let's go right here. So now, if you got to understand this, y'all listen. So now, the timing of transits, right? So now, the fast planets daily to monthly, right? So now, like the moon moves the quickest, right? Changing signs every 2 to 3 days, really like 2.5 days, right? So it impacts your emotional tone day by day. So now, it's good for understanding moods and vibes, right? But it doesn't shape long-term events. You want to know why it don't shape long-term events? Because you got to remember the influence is going from sign to sign to sign to sign. Now, let me tell you how it could shape a long-term event, right? A bad moon transit come and you be so emotionally wrecked. You do something, you know what I'm saying, about bad as hell in the 2.5 days that moon is like in the Aries conjunct Saturn with Mars, some shit. You could have accidentally hurt somebody, right? And then you got to remember from that 2.5 day moon transit with them malefic planets, now you in jail for the rest of your life, right? Real talk. Now you gotta remember y'all transits can work like that, right? So it's not a long term thing in and of itself, but it can cause long term repercussions. That's the thing. And long term planets are like Saturn or Jupiter in sign, like a year or more, right? Now, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, y'all, bring the shifts and last for like what, days to weeks, right? So now, these affect communication, relationships, attraction, motivation, desire, and short bursts of energy or tension, right? So now, they influence things like, you know what's meant, like flirty encounters, creative bursts, or sudden arguments, right? So now, you gotta understand, like Mercury, the planet of communication, Venus, the planet of like relationships and beauty, Mars, action and aggression, right? Now, Mars, retrograde Mars can stay in there for longer than a couple of weeks, though. But I just want to give y'all like a general overview of like how this shit actually works, right? So now the outer planets, right? Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune and Pluto, right? For those of y'all who want to know what Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So now these are planets that are further away from the actual sun, right? So now check this out. But let's see, right here, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. You see this, y'all? Hold up. Y'all see that, y'all? Listen. Jupiter, hold up. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Please understand that. Now, what y'all gotta understand, y'all listen. These planets are the generational planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And I'm gonna get into brief explanation of them here in a second. I want y'all to get a good grasp of them. It's not gonna be fully detailed. I'm gonna make some very detailed, different segment videos about it so y'all can fully comprehend them. So now, what you got to understand, right now, listen. So now, the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, move much slower, right, and they impact you over longer periods of time, right. So now, these are your life chapter writers. You understand that? So now, they bring deep shifts, challenges, and opportunities, right. Y'all understand that? Oh, I had to look at my shit. So now they bring deep shifts, challenges, and opportunities that can feel fated, right? So now these are the transits you feel in your bones and soul. So now when they activate parts of your chart, something real is happening, right? So now the generational planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto definitely affect you on a personal level all through the house, right? And they land in certain transits, right? So let me explain that. This is your life encased, right? These same planets that were in the exact spots when you were born are moving around and rotating, right? And transits, like, so the planets are always progressing, right? From birth to death. But it's going in a cyclical pattern, just like life in general. The circle of life. Lion King, the circle of life. Y'all looking at it right now. This is literally a circle of life, the wheel. They say the oldest astrological wheel is the wheel of Dendera, right? If y'all know what I'm talking about, let me know. But now, oh shit, I got a cold off, so I love that. But now, let's see. What are generational planets? So now, generational planets are the slow moving outer planets, right? Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So now they're called generational because they stay in the same zodiac sign for years, sometimes a decade or more, right? Like Pluto, Scorpio, long ass time. Like man, listen, like I think like 15, 16. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's somewhere between a 12 to 16 year mark, I believe so. Now, that means whole groups of people are born with these planets in the same sign, right? So they shape the values, transformations, and mindsets of an entire generation. Like I'm born in the Pluto Scorpio generation, right? And that's from like the 80s on, like the early 80s to like I think like the mid or late, I say like the mid 90s, right? And that's why you see it's over sexualization so much in the media coming from people around their age bracket. Real talk. The older they get and the more they get these platforms up, that's why you see what's going on, right? Because that whole generation of people is affected by it. Now they influence big picture stuff like social change, cultural revolutions, spiritual shifts, and collective healing and shadow work, right? So now, what are the traditional personal planets, right? So now, the traditional personal planets move quickly, right? The Sun, Moon, Mercury, right? Venus and Mars. So now they change signs every day, it's weeks, like I previously stated. So they're going to be more unique to you, right? Versus the Pluto in some sign for damn near 20 years. You see what I'm saying? So now, look, personality, emotional communication style, love language, motivation, and energy. So now they tell your personal story, how you live, love, think, act, and feel. So now, when we look at the quick comparison, right? So now the type, personal, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, right? Days to weeks, maybe sometimes months. Your daily life, personality, relationships. Generational, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, 7 to damn near 30 years plus. Whole generation collective themes, right? Now, example to visualizing that. So now let's say you and a friend are born in 2001, right? So you probably both have Pluto and Sagittarius. That means your whole generation is here to explore deep truth, spirituality, and global ideas, right? But maybe you have Venus in Pisces and your friend has Venus in Aries, right? So now that will show how you different. That's gonna show a little bit more like how y'all love and relate a little bit differently, right? So now that's the personal part. You see what I'm saying? Y'all both gonna experience one thing from a generation aspect, but when we hone it down into a more microscopic, you know what I'm saying, that detail versus a macro. So the personal planets are microcosmic, right? Small things like the cells of you, right? You see what I'm saying? But the outer planets are more like the macrocosm, right? It's the thing that's, you know what I'm saying, like real big, right? Which will be the generational planet, right? So look, the personal planets, individual self, relation. So now general planets, your soul's place in the actual collective, right? So now the houses where the energy show up, right? So now let's take a dive on that, right? So now listen, I want everybody to understand this, right? You know what? Let me finish explaining so I can go so I can just go all in at once. So now, even though generational planets are shared by many people in the same sign, same house, whatever, which I gotta understand, listen, well, whatever house is in for you under your specific ascendant is where you're gonna personally feel the actual collective generational thing, right? So now let me explain it. Oh, excuse me, Lord have mercy. So now the house the the uh the the house that shows the area of life where your personality feel the benefit. Well, I just said it, but listen. So now, when these planets transit through house, they bring transformation, magic, or chaos. Sometimes tear your ass up, right? So now, quick planet means. Yeah, I listen. It is supposed to be from the rain out here. I just got a cold out of nowhere. It should piss me off. Pluto, power, transformation, shadow work, right? So now, wherever Pluto is, you're going through deep soul work, death, rebirth, and letting go to reclaim power, right? That power, a lot of times, should be liberation. But sometimes people get it and it turns into obsession. It should turn to obsession real quick. Example, Pluto in your seventh house. Your relationships might go deep, so now you might attract intense partnerships and may face power dynamics or breakups that change you forever, right? Because remember, Pluto is a transformative energy, right? It's a death and rebirth process. Uranus, awakening, rebellion, and change, right? So now Uranus shakes things up wherever it lands, right? So now expect the unexpected. Example, Uranus transiting your second house. You might change how you make money or suddenly value freedom over stability, right? financial suppressive income. And so, which listen, I have Uranus in my second house, y'all. And the only reason I value money is not for money itself. I value money because I know that in this modern day and age, it's a means to an end because I value freedom, right? But in order to get the freedom in a more comfortable way and still enjoy the world, you have to have money, right? So I don't really care about money as, oh, I got this more than you. I care about money as far as having to actually live the life that you really want. You see what I'm saying? So now, Neptune, dreams, illusion, spirituality, confusion, right? So now, Neptune can make things feel magical or foggy, right? So now, it dissolves old boundaries, right? To help you connect spiritually, right? Example, Neptune in your 10th house. So you gotta understand that your career path might feel unclear, but you're being asked to align it with your soul's purpose, not just what look good on paper, right? Because you got to remember, the 10th house in Vedic astrology is called Karma Baba, right? The house of like karma, right? So what you got to understand is this: any planet that go there represents like another big portion of what you're supposed to complete here in life, as far as like the karmic duty, responsibility, and action, right? So now, so how does this work, right? So now, let's say Pluto is currently transiting your fourth house, right? Fourth house, for those of y'all who know where it's at, this is the fourth house, right? So now, even though everyone born in your generation may have Pluto in Sagittarius, for example, you will feel that Pluto energy most powerful in your emotional foundations, your relationship to family, and your sense of belonging. Why? Because guess what the fourth house rules over, y'all? It rules over, it's meant the maternal legacy or maternal ancestors. It rules over happiness, right? A peace of mind. Y'all understand, right? So you got to remember, Pluto there, especially the transit shit, or even if born with it, boy, that shit it can take you out. But now, now, during the transit, life might stir up old trauma, generational cycles, or cause a more, or cause a move, a loss, or profound homecoming. Right. So now, it's not just external change, right? It's deep inner transformation tied to that part of your life, right? So now, the key truth: the sign equals what kind of energy you're working with, the house where in life that shows up for you, right? The aspect or angle of the planets to another, how the energy plays out. So generational planets affects you through their house placements and transits, right? Their background music for your soul's evolution. So now we get to the all full out the way, right? Uh, so now let's check this out. Let's see. Look at the current transit right now, and I got them being born from Albuquerque. This is just a random person chart. But now this is another thing I want y'all to see. Because you might go and say, okay, what's the current trend right now? Yeah, it's really best if you also, what I'm saying, like don't just go type in transit chart and think everything gonna apply to you. Think about it. This person was born somewhere completely different from where they at now. You need the transit hovering over the actual local area that you're at that point in time, right? And then it filters that energy in your birth chart, right? Real talk. Because you gotta remember, the overall transit is for the overall. Hold on, y'all. Damn, that shit piss me off. Boy, I hate that shit. I'm trying to talk that shit, speak that shit, keep coming up. Mm. Oh, doesn't hurt chilling. Damn, that shit making me mad. I'm trying to talk. I don't like that shit, boy. That shit make me mad. I'm trying to talk, and you know how y'all feel that shit. Mm-mm. But yeah, so y'all listen. I want y'all to understand. Look at this. Wherever you born, you got to wherever you looking up a transit, what's going to be happening to you. You need to make sure you're looking up this aspect off top where you're at locally, right? Wherever you at, right there, and right now. So now check this out. So look at these transit charts. So now listen, they got Lilith going into their second house, right? So what could this mean? What could Lilith in transit in the second house mean, right? So now let's just look at it from a basic aspect. What does the second house rule? It rule over each house rule over a lot of things, right? But let's go with the tropical understanding of it first. The second house rule values, right? So Lilith transiting inside of Scorpio, a sign of sexuality, with Lilith already being a planet with sexuality, what could happen? Somebody could probably think about doing sexual favors for money, right? But look, Jupiter's right here too. sexual favors for money. Somebody could also think about what? Doing sexual healing, right? Showing people how to recover from rape. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, right? You see, or that's just more on the positive side, but on the negative side, Jupiter conjunct. Lilith in the birth chart is being conjunct in their birth chart Jupiter, right? So this can make like a spiritual educator, right? About, what I'm talking about, breaking free from chains, right? Because Scorpio rules a transformative energy, and then Jupiter rules what? An expansive spiritual energy on top of the energy of Lilith that rules a rebellious streak, right? So guess what? You mix rebellion, you mix rebellion, that's Lilith, right? Rebellion and repressed emotions, then you mix it with the actual Scorpio energy. Scorpio is what? Dramatic transformation, right? Crisis events, life, death, and rebirth events, taboo things, right? Then you mix that energy with Jupiter, right? Which is education, right? So guess what? Guess what? Healing from sexual assault, healing from sexual abuse, talking. Then it's also the second half of speech, bringing dark taboo matters to the actual limelight, right? So you see how you can tackle this from a wide variety of angles, right? It's not just no one way to say it. Like Lilith in here gonna only do this, man. This house rule over so much stuff, Jupiter rule over so much stuff, and the sign rule over so much stuff, right? Real talk. Person might decide to be, depending on like if they moons in Sagittarius and stuff like that, they might want to get into like sex education with this birth chart. It's just a lot of things that can be said, right? And that's what a lot of people be feeling like, man, it's hard to read a birth chart because it's so many things that it could possibly be. And the people are waiting on you to tell them something 100% specific. However, a lot of times what end up happening, if you're a really good astrologer, you'll give them like a different type of scenarios of how this can play out because it don't just have to manifest in one way, right? It don't have to just manifest in one way, right? Now think about it. Look at this. These are the more harder transits, right? When you got all this shit conjunct, right? This person gonna go through it. It's like this person gonna go through it in some relationships. I got all this shit in every boy like they ass gonna go through it regarding they love life. But yes, y'all, listen, these side transits work, right? You never know what's going on. You never know what's happening. Real talk, right? So it's just so much stuff that when it comes to reading chart that you really have to understand in order to accurately assess whatever the hell you trying to tell somebody. Real talk. So yes, y'all, this is just a little quick transit video. I might do some more in-depth ones probably later on this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I don't know. But other than that, like I said, y'all listen. I'm good for the birth chart reading. Let me scroll down. And y'all look at this right here. Y'all see that right there? I want y'all to see this. These are fake pages of me. Y'all see this right here? These are fake pages of me. I do not talk like this, and I do not beg people to buy readings like this at all. I do not say beloved or anything, right? I want y'all to make sure y'all check that out and understand that. But now, I want y'all to listen. If you want a reading from me, hit me up on one of my social media platforms. I got plenty of reviews. Come out, let me. But until then, y'all listen. Make sure y'all do run back through this and all this so you can really truly understand. But other than that, y'all, I will talk to y'all later, man. Peace.